Mimi Makes.
Hi guys, this is Mimi. Welcome back to Mimi Makes. And in today's episode, I'm going to show you how I customized this baby top using my Silhouette Cameo and my Cricut Mini Heat Press. So let's get started. Okay, so this is Silhouette Design Studio. I am using the Business Edition. The Business Edition has more customizing features, so I bought the upgrade for that. So first I'm gonna do the baby Ignacio, and I'm just gonna apply a color here. I like to apply the design that I'm gonna do in the color that I'm gonna do it in, and let's change the font. First we're gonna center line it, and I'm gonna use this font Gelato, and I'm gonna adjust the line spacing to bring it up. Let me zoom you in here. Okay, I want to show you that in the beginning, when you have text, the letters are not fully joined. I don't know if you can see it here in the camera. They're not fully joined, so there's gonna be cut marks between each letter. So in order to fix that, this is what you're gonna do. You're going to modify and click weld, or you can right click the design and click weld. Alright, so what that will do is join all the letters together so that there won't be any separation or division when you're cutting out the material. So now they're all joined together. And then after welding, most of the times what it does is that it groups everything that's touching. So you're gonna want to highlight everything. See here, it grouped the baby and it grouped the rest of the last name, but it didn't group that I and the dot. So what you'll do is highlight everything, right click and select group, and it will just group all of your design together. It makes it easier for moving and for editing. Okay, so I am actually going to customize 3 different baby tops, but I want them to have the same design, so I'm just going to resize this to how I want it, and I'm gonna copy this 3 times for the 3 different baby tops. And then along with the name baby Ignacio, I want to add another design element. So I went on Google and I googled flower silhouette. I copied the one that I liked and I pasted it in Silhouette Studio. Don't worry about the background because we're gonna get rid of that using the tracing tool or the tracing panel. You select that, you highlight the flower, and then you're gonna adjust the settings. So everything in yellow will be traced. I lower the scale so that the sides will come out smoother, and the threshold. What the threshold does is that it highlights everything that was dark colored, that was the black, and makes it yellow, and whatever is in yellow is what's gonna come out traced. So here it is. Okay, so now what I do is I double click the design and click simplify to smoothen out the edges. I double click the design as well so that I can edit the design, like what I'm doing here. You can see I edited the points, And then I'm just gonna double check that all the points are touching, are equal basically. So that's what I'm doing here now. I'm just using a circle to make sure that all those flower points are okay, and I just deleted it. Next, I'm going to right click the image and select release compound path, and what that does is that it shows you, it separates all the different parts of the design. And I noticed that there are these little parts here, so I'm just going to delete them because we don't want those to be cut. So that's what release compound does. It releases the grouping of the design. And I'm also going to delete the middle circle because it looks a little wonky, so I'm going to redo that. So I'm just going to delete it and create another circle. Hold down the shift while making the circle. This will make it into a perfectly round circle. Then re-highlight. Make sure that that circle is in the center. Right click and make compound path to regroup everything again. And I just decided to make this one yellow. So we're gonna have the names in pink and the flowers are gonna be yellow. So I'm just making a bunch of flowers because I want more than one flower per baby top. And this looks like about it. So I'm gonna click the send button, and this is now what is gonna, this screen shows you what is gonna be cut. So I'm just zooming in here to show you, if you see the outline of the text, notice that there are no lines in between each letter, and that's what that weld, the welding thing, that's what it did. It made sure that there are no cut lines in between each letter. And then here what I'm showing you is that you have 3 different cut settings. You have cut edge, cut, and no cut. Now the cut edge in some designs is where it will only cut the outline of the design. If you select that option, so you can leave it at cut. And then now we're going to choose the material, which is the heat transfer in smooth, and this is the setting that came up. Okay, I'm going to switch from my Cameo to my portrait. I have 2 machines, one is a Cameo and one is a portrait, so I'm just switching here. And also I ran out of yellow vinyl, heat transfer vinyl, so I'm just going to do everything in light pink. And also, since this is a heat transfer project, you're going to want to make sure that your design is flipped. Okay, that's very important. So here I'm just selecting my portrait machine and I'm connecting to it via Bluetooth. So that's what it's doing, it's syncing right now. So if this wasn't a heat transfer project, you don't need to mirror the design, you can leave it as is, but because it's a heat transfer, you have to flip the image. I'm gonna click send. You have the option to send mirrored or send as is. I don't like that option where I click send mirrored, so I just flip it myself manually. I'm gonna select send as is, and now it's cutting. I forgot to record how I loaded the machine. Basically, you put the vinyl, the heat transfer vinyl, on the mat with the glossy part down. So the glossy part should be facing down because that's your protective layer. So the actual vinyl is on the other side, which is what it's cutting now. Also, what I found with my portrait, even though I selected the material, it didn't cut right, so I had to adjust the settings myself. And so the blade is set to a force of 4 and a speed of 8. And the blade is set to a depth of number 2. So now here is the design that I weeded. So it's already weeded. I had a hard time weeding it because my fingers are swollen due to my pregnancy and my hands were hurting. So I have my mini Cricut Heat Press, and I'm just pressing over the design. Because the design is so small, I didn't think that I would need a protective layer, so I just used that plastic layer that's already on the heat transfer vinyl. And that's it. So there's the name, Baby Ignacio. And now for the flowers. And I'm doing this in real time, folks. I did not speed up this video right here. So as you can see, it didn't take long for the vinyl to adhere, to be pressed onto the fabric. But you know, different brands of vinyl and different material of clothing can also alter that. But in my case, this was a very thin fabric. It's cotton for the baby. And as a matter of fact, this vinyl that I'm using is the Siser Easyweed. I've had it for years actually, and I think it's kind of beginning to rot a little. So it seemed to adhere faster because it's like it's thinned out a bit. I don't think you're meant to keep vinyls for too long, but I've had this one for years, just sitting there in my shelf. And that's pretty much it, you guys. So I just put the name and 3 flowers. And this is the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye!